Hi guys, welcome to the Brethren. My name is Renee and this is Fictional Crafts. And this is the mid-year book freakout tag, mid-year freakout tag. I'm stuck for a video this week. I'm in the middle of doing a couple of vlogs. And I haven't really been consistent with uploading, so I figured I might as well just do the freakout tag because I love watching them. So I have not been tagged by anyone, but quite a lot of the people I watch have just said, consider yourself tagged, so I'm considering myself tagged. First things first, I probably should attach this somewhere so I am not waving it around. Okay. I kind of had a bit of a I had a difficult time finding books to answer these questions. And I think it's a bit of a combo. I've had a very stressful first 12 months of the year. First 6 months of the year. Felt like 12 months. First 6 months of the year. And when I've been reading, I've been like just devouring words and not really enjoying them as much as I could be. I like to really sit on a book sometimes and just take my time and read through it slowly, and I haven't been doing that lately. And then I've gone through like a month where I just didn't read anything. I'm sorry. I need to snack on something. The kids are watching some TV. It's the afternoon. I want to get this recorded. But I'm hungry. I have some yummy lamb steaks ready for dinner. Okay. Now, I've had to double up on a couple books. I cannot find, what did I do with my diary? I've swapped my diary over because it's the new financial year for Australia. I've swapped my diary over and I have no idea where I've put my diary. I think I've buried it. I need to go down there. But I was going to use like all the list of books that I've been reading to go through and find some of these, and so it's okay. I'm just going to have a couple of double ups. I'm just going to have to, because it's all I can think of to cover those books, cover these questions. So book one is best book of the year so far. And surprisingly, considering the sci-fi reader, it's actually A Life's Work by Rachel Cusk. I really, really enjoyed this book. It's about the couple of years, like just after her first daughter's born and leading up to sort of when her second daughter is born. And I really, really felt the emotional pull on this one. It felt, I've had two kids within about 2 years of each other. It really hit me. This one was actually really, really good that way. So yes, I'm going to try to go through these quickly as well. Okay, but I really did enjoy that. In fact, I want to read every one of her books now. Okay. Is that really the best sequel I've read this year? I actually haven't read a lot of sequels, so question 2 is best sequel you've read so far this year. And I haven't read a lot of sequels. I just haven't. So I'll just have to say at the moment it is The Lost Fleet, Fearless by Jack Campbell, which follows Captain Blackjack Geary and his quest to get an entire armada back to safe space after it suffers a huge loss, and all the commanding officers above him are effectively murdered. So it's an interesting series as a whole. I've read the whole series this year, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's military sci-fi. Go into it knowing that, but the way this man writes his battle scenes, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic book. Question number 3 is new releases that you haven't read yet but want to. Okay, now I grabbed 3. And the first one is The Death of the Author by Nnedi Okorafor. I read Binti and I enjoyed it, but it was YA, where this is apparently adult, so, and speculative sci-fi, so I grabbed it. I am really looking forward to reading this. I believe it's about an author and she's gone through some troubles and she's sitting there trying to write her book, and then it splits and half of the narrative is the book, and then I think it splits again and there's another sort of timeline. But anyway, I'm really looking forward to reading that. I love that cover too. I almost picked that for prettiest cover I've bought this year. For the ugliest cover I've bought this year, it's disgusting, is Where the Axe is Buried by Ray Nyler. I loved Ray Nyler's Mountain Under the Sea. It was my favourite book of 23. Was it 23 or 24 I read it? Anyway, the favourite book when I read it. I really love Tusk of Extinction. And I should have grabbed the hard copy because this cover. But I really want to read this. So this one is an authoritarian federation. There's a plot to assassinate the president. A man has downloaded his mind in succession of new bodies to maintain his grip on power. Meanwhile, in the fringes of Western Europe that has renounced the human governance for AI prime ministers, an experimental artificial mind is threatening to set off a chain of events that may spell the end of the Western world. As the Federation and the West start to crumble, Lilia, a brilliant scientist, goes on the run, trying to break out from a web of Federation surveillance. Her fate becomes bound up with a global group of people united in the fight to put humanity's future back into its own hands. Very topical sounding, and it was Ray Nyler. That's the first time I've read the back. I just grabbed the book because it's Ray Nyler. I really am looking forward to reading that one soon. And the third and final book that's been released... Was it released this year? I don't care. I got it this year. Yes. Is the fourth book in the McMurdo... What I've been calling McMurdo series, which is the McMurdo Disaster, which follows Mark Franklin and his cat, Jeff. Jeff is the cat's name. Gus is his best friend's name. I'm always getting them mixed up, but I don't care. I love this series. I am really looking forward to reading it. This time round, Franklin and his ex-wife Sarah got stranded on a planet. They went through a wormhole. They did a... what was that TV series called? I used to really enjoy it. Anyway, they went through a wormhole, and this is the aftermath. Wormhole? Tearing space? To be determined. Okay. What question am I up to? 5. Biggest disappointments. I honestly don't know how this book managed to disappoint me even more than I was expecting it to. If you want to rant on how bad this book is, just go and watch the live that I did with Shah on the 5th? Saturday the 5th. And that is this book. Sharp and Write the Book by Jenna Morassi. Now, I went into this book not expecting to like it. I went into this book with the knowledge that she's an advocate for the Save the Cat techniques, theories, timeline, whatever you want to call it. This book still managed to disappoint me. Really, really badly. Yeah, if I start, I will not stop. But this book, just go and write your book and you will learn more than spending the time reading this book. I'm going to do a review of a few different technical writing books, sort of comparisons between them. and this is why I've read this one. That's why I got it in the first place, even though I knew I was not going to be a fan of it. I was hoping it would teach me something. I was hoping there'd be one little cherub of information that I thought, oh, wow, yeah, fantastic. Thanks, Jenna. I'm sorry, but no. Jenna, as a former Patreon member, please read some more books on how to write other than Save the Cat. Please. Okay. Number 6 is The Biggest Surprise. So the biggest surprise for me this year has actually been this book, which is, I always like a bit of a memoir. I really particularly like journey memoirs. And so I knew I was going to enjoy this book, but I actually did not even have this on my radar. And that's where this was a surprise. I just saw it. I was just on my library app and it just popped up as a suggested sort of book to read. And I went, sounds interesting. I loved this book. I loved it. I listened to it on audio and then I went and bought the physical copy. And I plan on rereading this probably next year at some point, and I'm going to get the other 2 books that she's written as well. So this is The Salt Path by Raynor Wynn, and it's a story about how her and her husband learned that Moth, her husband, was terminally ill. And then at the same time they lost their house that that was their livelihood, because their house, they also had a B&B attached to their house. So they've lost all their income. They've lost, there's no way he's going to get work, and he's going to get sicker and sicker. And they've got no money, nothing. There's nothing. And they've got a period of time between them losing the house and getting government grants and getting payments, because I think she decides to go back to school. But there's this like 2-3 month period where they've got like $80 a week coming in, or 80, yeah. So what they decide to do is to walk the Salt Path, which is 630-mile southwest coast path from Somerset to Dorset via Devon and Cornwall. And they wild camp, which is I don't know how legal it is over there. You kind of can't do it here in Australia. You got to have permits, and I'm pretty sure it's the same over in England and the UK. So yeah, a very surprising book. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to actually sit down and read it rather than just listen to it on audiobook. And I'm doing a challenge. I'm going to do a challenge to myself next year where I am rereading my library. Like, I'm getting my TBR list down so that I can spend next year, maybe the next 2 years, going through my library, rereading the books that I haven't read in a long time, and bulking out the authors that I love. So I cannot wait to get back to this one. And then number 7 is new favourite author. So I struggled with this one. I technically could have picked Jack Campbell, but what I decided to do, because I've read a lot of the books I've really loved in the last 6 months have been authors I've rediscovered. So this is a new favourite author because I've rediscovered that they're a favourite author. And that is Simon R. Green. And I, as a teen, absolutely adored his Forest Kingdom series, his Hawk and Fisher series. And I had read, so this book here, Deathstalker Prelude, has the 3 novellas from his Deathstalker universe in it. And I had read those, but I've never read the Deathstalker series, which is his science fiction series. And I'd kind of forgotten about his sci-fi series, to be honest. And then I picked this up secondhand, and I've had a scene that's lived rent-free in my life, rent-free in my head for 30 years. This scene has lived rent-free in my head. And it's in one of these novellas. And I'm halfway through the second novella, and I think it's this one, because I think I'm about to read that scene. And I just cannot wait. Once I finish recording this video and editing it and putting it up, I am going to read this book tonight. I cannot wait. So it's not necessarily a new favourite author, but I have rediscovered Simon R. Green and discovered his sci-fis in particular, when I've always known him as the fantasy author. I love this book. I love it. Okay. What was that? I can't even keep count of my questions. I'm so tired. Okay. Now, I am going to be rude and I'm going to skip this one. This is question 8, and this is newest fictional crush. Now, I'm demisexual and I'm married and I'm in perimenopause. I don't have any crushes on fictional characters right now. I also have 2 young kids, one of who was diagnosed autistic about 2 months ago, and the other one I'm currently in the process of trying to get diagnosed. I don't have time to have a fictional crush. I also haven't read fantasy. There's a character in here I absolutely loved. I thought she was fantastic, but I don't lust after fictional characters. I just... meh. So, you know what? I've missed a question. I missed the most anticipated releases for the second half of the year. Oh, jeez. There's only one book that I've actually pre-ordered and is on my radar, and I'm probably just going to have to say that book for this one. And that is The Enchanted Greenhouse by Sarah Beth Durst, I think it is. I'll put a picture up. I really enjoyed The Spell Shop last year. It was a great little easy fantasy to read through, and I'm just looking forward to having The Enchanted Greenhouse as that little palette cleanser book at some point at the end of the year. I can't believe I missed that one. I'm really tired, guys. I'm so sorry. Okay, so newest fictional crush, as we've established, it doesn't work for me. Newest favourite character. So I kind of have to say my newest favourite character, I haven't even finished this book yet. I'm still only halfway through it. It's 130 pages. It's called Steering the Craft, the 21st Century Guide to Sailing the Sea of Story. And that's Ursula K. Le Guin. And yes, it is a non-fiction book about writing. It is a technical book. Ursula K. Le Guin's narrative voice in this, best character I've read all year. Absolute best character I have read all year. And it is just the narrative voice. So let me see. Okay. Let me see if I can just find an example. It is just... here. If your style has been corrupted by long exposure to academies or scientific or business English, you may need to worry about the passive. Oh, no. Anyways, but yeah, it's just the way she writes, the humour, her very plain attitude to it, you know, her very clear attitude to certain things. Fantastic narrative voice. Okay. This is the double up. So, a book that made you cry. I cried in pain. That's all I can say about that. Absolutely cried in pain. Okay, and then, what am I up to? Okay, question 11, a book that made you happy. So, I'm in the middle of this book too, but it is making me extremely happy. And that is this beast of a book, which is The Sagas of the Icelanders. And it is most of the Icelandic sagas in one chunky fucking book. And I am just, what I'm doing is I'm just reading, I'm reading a bit of this, and then I'm reading another book, and then I'm coming back and reading a little bit of this. And I I've only gotten through the introduction. I haven't even started the sagas yet, and I'm just having so much fun with this book. So that is a book that makes me happy. I mean, this book made me happy too, even though it's full of a lot of gore and death. Some are green. I swear, okay, if you haven't read Ghost World, you should read Ghost World. And if you are a director or someone who works in the film industry, can someone please buy the rights for Ghost World and turn it into a horror sci-fi or a sci-fi horror, because it would terrify me in all the best ways. Okay, number 12, I think, books I want to read by the end of the year. So all of these books I want to read by the end of the year. Or at least a good portion of them. So my aim is to read, I've got about 30 books all up now, because I took about 20 out of books I have not read yet, but they're authors that I know and love, and I've put them into my library for next year's challenge. And I've been left with about 32 books. And I want to, that's about 5 books a month. That is achievable for me. I mean, there's a fair chance I'm going to DNF a few of them too. But I want to read all of these by the end of the year, so that next year I can concentrate on new releases that are eligible for the Hugos, so I can read them and have enough of them read so that I know so I can nominate for the Hugos or vote in the Hugos next year. I have not voted for a long time because I've never been up to date with reading everything. And focus on the challenge I'm going to have with going through my actual book library. So that's my thought process. So yeah, so I've got a few books. I've got For Whom the Bell Tolls. I've got, what's another book you might recognise? Watership Down. I've got a few books on history of the Vikings or Norse. A few independent published. That's another thing I have to concentrate on. I've got to get back into reading the 100 adult sci-fis, independently published sci-fis. So yeah, so I've got a few books to get through, but I pulled out 2 in particular I really want to get around to reading before the end of the year. And the first one is the new translation of Beowulf by Maria Davina Headley. I really like this cover too. I think it's a really cool cover. But this is a new version, a new translation, and I think, and it's just, it goes on about the story, but it says, while crafting her contemporary adaptation, Headley unearthed significant shifts over the centuries of translation. So I am very interested to read this as a book that has been cleanly translated in modernly, like with modern thought processes and modern understanding of history. In particular, how there was a lot of like removal of women's agency and things from some stuff. So I'm very interested to read this and see how this stacks up with the other Beowulf translation I've read, which is J.R.R. Tolkien's version. So yes, I'm very interested in reading that. And the other book I really want to read by the end of the year, because I'm absolutely fascinated and I want to watch the TV series of it, and that is The Swarm by Frank Schulzing. And this is a biological sci-fi thriller, I believe. And it's, she's a big one. She's big. How big is she? I'm into chunky books at the moment. Yeah, over 880 pages. So I'm not going to go to the large page. I don't want to spoil myself. But yeah, I really do want to get this book read by the end of the year. Okay. Last but not least, the most beautiful books you've bought this year. I hate it when that happens. So, just someone knocking at the door, hoping that we'll give them money. Okay. Charity door knockers. Okay. The most beautiful books you've bought this year. So, I bought a lot of second-hand books this year. But of the new books I bought, I think this is my favourite cover now. Debate out there on whether or not it's the most beautiful cover, but I think it's an amazing cover. So I grew up on that really bad movie. The really bad Red Sonja movie and the really good comics. So just the red hair coming down over the sword just really appeals to my 80s, 90s nostalgia. So yeah, so I reckon that's probably my favourite cover of books that I bought this year. I mean, I really do like For Whom the Bell Tolls as well. That's a really pretty cover. But this one sings for me. This one really sings. So yes, that is my mid-year book freakout tag. I'll put all these books back now. But, oh yeah. So I just have to show, I like this cover too. This cover's really pretty as well. And I really like the look of the Swarm cover. So, oh, there we go. There's my thumbnail. So yeah. So that is mid-year book, mid-year freakout tag. What has been your favourite book this year? Have you rediscovered an author that you used to love and just sort of semi-forgot about them? Let me know in the comments below. In the meantime, I would say like, comment and subscribe, but we're all adults here. Do whatever the hell you want.
Mark's not choosing magic fingers.
Mark's not choosing magic fingers. Is it your turn or is it Mark's turn?
It's Mark's turn, but she's had lots of pots of gold on the sun turn.
Well, we're going to turn the TV off anyway and have some dinner and then go to bed, okay? You're so tired, baby.
But Mama...
You are so tired. Come here, give Mummy a kiss.
Next,
You've chewed on that straw already.
but Mommy, next week can we buy that in my LA birthday with us yesterday's Snow's birthday, please?
Well, we'll have to find them. But you chew on them. Mummy doesn't like those straws because you chew on them.
Next week can go to the toy shop to buy a pink lily bag. Lots of pink lily bags.
You love your pink, don't you, baby? Come on.
And I don't share with my friends.
Oh, you're not going to share with your friends? Why not?
Because they hate pink.
Oh, no they don't. Charlotte loves pink.
Yeah, I only can give it in Charlotte.
Okay, now.
But not all my friends.
Okay, well you go watch Paw Patrol and then when it's finished it's Magic Fingers time, okay?
Oh no.
Come on, Mummy's got to put all these books away now.
Mommy, please, can we have Magic Fingers in the printer?
Oh, you want Magic Fingers on Mummy's computer? No, Mummy's going to turn the computer off in a minute.
Please, please. No, 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 no. Da, 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 da.
Hey?
Please, Mama.
Please, Morgan.
Please, Nana.
Oh, please, Mama, not Nana. I'm not Nana. I'm not Nana. Nana.